I'm sure that in doing this work and dealing with people, in very difficult relationships with each other, I'm curious to hear something about what a story, a time that you found particularly challenging and particularly difficult to get through, and how you dealt with that.
Which dialogue meeting do you want to hear about?
I don't know. I haven't been to 278 of them.
It's not just, it's interesting because it's not just Palestinians and Jews or Armenians and Azerbaijanis or blacks and whites. It's personalities too. You can have a room full of people that might just relate to the other more than to their own because of personalities and political differences and cultural philosophies. And so it's a very interesting thing to sit, and I'm sure all these people who are on here and so many of you talked about working with people, Benita talked about the men and the women, and it's a challenge because it's always about listening to the other. And it's always about having the ability to expand our own frame of reference. So it's difficult because so often we feel like what we were taught and the life we're living is the best and the only one. So it's to be able to open our hearts and minds to somebody else's totally different experience, totally different worldview, and the way of living and acting. That's where the rubber hits the road. And so it's not just about Palestinians and Jews, it's about all of us being willing to listen to anybody else who has a different worldview and a different way, different lifestyle.
You asked about a difficult situation that we will not forget. There was a time when the dialogue in the early 1990s was young, and we were going to have our first public event to bring together new Palestinians and Jews and others to expand the circle. And the day before that happened, an Israeli Jew machine gun killed a lot of Palestinians in a mosque. And the world was, it was really awful. And we thought, and we were young and we were new and we were worried, and should we have this gathering tomorrow or should we not? Should we just wait until everybody feels good and everybody's forgotten the reality of the difficulty and do nothing? And we sat down and we decided. And what we decided forever changed our lives. And that was that we were going to have the event, because when could light be more needed than in such darkness? And so from then on, we were forever changed, and that we were defined ourselves as those who would not go up and down with the headlines. Mm-hmm. We would hold to the vision, hold to the principles, hold to the what works in real life, and that is being together in a small circle and listening to each other and humanizing one another, and thus diminishing fear and increasing creativity. And it was a fabulous evening, and people were so grateful, and the dialogue did fan out and expand where we live.